Hey guys, what's up? And welcome to Frequently Asked Questions Part 2. This time I want to go briefly through the three starter uniques and then transition to how to scale single target properly. I also would like to explain how to set up path of building correctly and make it a useful tool for your own character progress. While that, I would like to showcase a handicapped shaper fight of mine where I'm not using Wise Oak Flask, no Opal Rings, no Mirrored Amulet and no Conqueror's Potency. Without Conqueror's Potency, I'm not hitting the 50% threshold of Flask effectiveness and therefore lose one Barrage projectile. So yeah, enjoy the fight. To start a Wonder character, I would recommend you to get following items first. Thunder Fists. Those are the #1 DPS gloves for this build. Lycosi Day Shield. This will make gearing a lot easier as you don't have to care about accuracy rolls on other items. Piscators Vigil. It's a bit int hungry, but it's the best bang for buck wand. However, to get this build tanky enough for endgame, you will have to drop Thunder Fists and Lycosi Day Shield, as rare items will provide more life and still enough damage affixes to keep the DPS high. Piscators Vigil, however, should be replaced after you get all the other key items. Speaking of key items, let's start scaling the single target of this build properly. The first thing you should get is a 6-link as soon as possible. And since this is a Pathfinder build, you should get the flasks next. But pay attention, Vessel of Winter has 4 different versions. We do want to have the one with added 2 attacks. The one with lightning penetration is okay, but the other 2 are completely worthless for this build. Also make sure that you get the correct base types and the correct rolls on the magic flasks. After that, grab all the Flask effectiveness nodes in the tree and get all the Ascendancy nodes from lab. In addition, get the Conqueror's Potency jewel to hit the 50% Flask effectiveness threshold. This way we get one additional projectile for our barrage from Dying Sun. Don't worry about the bleed removal bug, this will be fixed with 3.0.2. Next thing would be grabbing Point Blank in the passive tree. Kinetic Blast should still be strong enough to clear trash even off screen. And last but not least, the +2 Barrage Helmet enchant. See, I can totally understand why people don't want to pay so much for a Rat's Nest, and I don't understand why the Wonder Hype tax must be so high. So instead you can go with an inexpensive alternative, which is Devotor's Devotion, which costs currently 5 to 6 exalts. This will do a great job for this build. So those items will boost the single target the most. While getting those items, always look out for rings, amulets that will give you next to life and resist accuracy to keep the hit chance above 90% unless you want to keep the Lycosi Day Shield. Also, it's really important to have the juicy damage affixes like elemental damage with attacks, increased lightning damage, flat lightning damage to attacks, cold is also alright, crit multiplier, crit chance and attack speed. It's really important that you have to know that this build scales with the gear. So if you wanna have high DPS, you will have to invest a lot. Since single target will be pretty bad at the beginning, you should run more indoor maps where kinetic blast explosions can bounce off walls. This will increase the clear speed and leveling process. Also, don't use MF gear like Biscos if you can't counter the DPS loss with good gear on other slots.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, let's move on with path of building. You will find a download link in the description. After installing, you should see something like that. Yeah, then click on New. You should see an empty passive tree, no skills and no items. You can basically theory craft and start from 0, which I wouldn't recommend at the beginning. Instead, you can click here and type in your account name, click on Start, select a character, click on Passive Tree and Jewels to import those, click on Items and Skills to import those, and you're basically done. Now you should see the passive tree of this character, the skills it's using, and the items. If you have, for example, different jewels or another one you want to compare with, equip those on the character and redo this step right here but delete the skills because you already have them. Click on items and skills again, and you're done. Now you should see something like this, for example. Now I'm having like 2 rat's nests in here. Okay, let's click on the one with barrage projectiles to show you something later. The next step would be configuration. So we do want to know how much barrage single target we are dealing. For that we select barrage here. Make sure to select all the projectiles. Now on this page it's very important that you are honest with yourself. What I mean by that is, do I have power charges? Yes, I do have them. I'm generating them with Red Flag Warcry. So I click this one on, the DPS goes up. Do I use frenzy charges? Yes, I use them, but wait, I don't generate them against Shaper, so I remove them. Same goes for Onslaught, I can't proc it against Shaper. Yes, flasks are active, I'm a Pathfinder build. My crit chance is lucky, because I'm using a diamond flask. Yes, I have projectile traveling distance. Since I'm using point blank, this will also affect the DPS, as you can see. Since we are basically standing on Shaper's toes, I can select a number between 1 and 10. Anything above 10 will reduce the DPS. What else? Is the enemy shocked? Yes, he's shocked through Ringta. And that's the key point. This shock right here is 50% increased damage, but the Wingter is only increasing the damage by 10%. To simulate that, I'm using Intimidated. And last but not least, I have to make sure that I'm selecting Shaper, since this way the enemy will gain 40% elemental resistances. So let's move on. Well, let's move on with the tree first. So this is a powerful tool. If you are, for example, level 97 and you do want to know if one slinger is better than Throat Seeker, you can simply change the clusters and compare the DPS. Or you can change the pathing and see if you find something which is more to your likes, stuff like that. So you can, test anything you want here. Next step are skills. Again, you will have to be honest with yourself. So, for example, I'm using Blood Rage, so I can tick that on. I'm also using Orb of Storm's Curse and hit projectile weakness against him recently, so I can keep that one on too. I'm using Rallying Cry, since I'm generating power charges with that. I'm using Wrath. I'm using a Summon Ice Golem. I'm using Herald of Ice. Oh, there's Onslaught, but wait, it's not affecting the DPS right here. Last but not least, Barrage. So you will see that this is more than 6 gems. The reason for that is, and it's also a nice feature of this game, for example, if you've purchased a 6th link and you want to know which 6th support gem, or not 6th support gem, but which 6th gem should be better for your character, you can simply select them and compare them. So, as you can see, slow projectiles is better than crit damage gem. And if we select damage on full life, it's even better. But the reason why I'm not using damage on full life is, first, I'm using Blood Rage, and also I'm honest with myself, I will not have 100% guaranteed full life while fighting Shaper or other stuff. So yeah, I'd rather have less DPS in Path of Building, but more reliable DPS. Next step would be items. So yeah, this is a Pathfinder build, so we will activate every blast. See, suddenly we have a lot more DPS. What I also want to showcase you is the impact of the Helmet Enchant. We now are having something like 2.9 million DPS, and now we're having 3.7. See, so we should definitely get the +2 Barrage Helmet Enchant. What else? Oh yeah, what else I can show you is, with the Flask I'm currently having 69% chance to evade. And why I'm using a Stibnite Flask instead of a Jade Flask is this one right here. Stibnite is blinding the enemy through the smoke cloud, and with that I'm having a chance to evade of 84% against Shaper. So that's really strong and really huge. Yeah, what else can I say? Well, this is the page where you can see how the DPS or your defense and stuff like that is calculated. For example, flat lightning damage You can see the yellow ones are items, rare items, the orange ones are uniques, and so forth, or the increased lightning damage. So this is really useful. Also, it shows you how much strength, dex or int your build requires, stuff like that. So yeah, I hope you learned something and have fun.